Battle Angel Alita is a movie filled with distractions. Like most of the Hollywood adaptations of foreign source material, it forsakes the necessary world building and storytelling for the sake of expedited spectacle and exposition. It is not a horrible film per se, but it is not a truly effective one either. And why does the German actor Christoph Waltz play a guy with the last name Edu? Who knows? Then there's the worry of how Robert Rodriguez was going to handle directing this. Everyone walking into this movie wondered if we were going to get Sin City 1 or 2 Rodriguez. I'm sorry to disappoint the fans. It's Sin City 2. People unfamiliar with the manga, I knew nothing about it going in, will be puzzled several times, because the writers have clearly omitted all the things that make the key moments so good. Even as an outsider to this material, I felt painfully that so much was missing from this world. A friend of mine pointed out after the movie ended that it felt as though the writers thought they had written a great movie, because they know the context for all the scenes in it, but they forgot to cue the audience in on it. And I said that'd be like if Thanos snapped his fingers in Iron Man 1. I mean, would anyone on the planet know what the fuck happened or why it was so important? Infinity War had all those movies before it to build up to that insane moment. The moment where the villain wins. Battle Angel is 2 hours condensed from what I can only guess could wind up filling an entire Netflix series with. And yes, the movie ends cheesily as a setup to future films and sequels. Looking at the box office, I don't think we'll have to worry about that. It's set in the future. The year is 2563. We're told it's 300 years after The Fall, which was some war that left the Earth in a dystopia. A scientist named Dr. Dyson Edu, remember, played by Waltz, scrounges through a junkyard for parts. He stumbles upon what's left of a battered female cyborg and finds out she's still alive. He goes to work to remake her body. She awakens in the next scene, aware of her existence and able to speak and walk. Although she trips at first. She has no memory. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know who Edo is either. They bond over oranges as he ensures the technology he built her with works. She can taste the oranges. She can feel pain. She can even cry. Edu names her Alita. Now I gotta say at this point, the biggest surprise of this movie is Alita herself. The visuals of her facial features are kind of incredible. She looked like a goofy joke in all the trailers with her big eyes. But in the movie, Rosa Salazar, who provides the voice and motion capture of Alita, elevates her into something more. I completely believed her presence. I believed her on screen. Everything she said, everything she did, I was rooting for her. I loved Alita as a character and the portrayal of Alita. Just spot on. That is not the problem here. If only the movie were as good as she is. I was reminded of Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Bane is a great villain. The movie he is in is horrible. Back to the plot. Alita bonds with a boy in the streets named Hugo. He's a bad actor. Of course he is the love interest. He wants to move on up to the city in the sky called Zalem, just like everyone else. And man, do they let you hear it. It's the place with all the wealth. And it can't be as bad as the junky iron city down below where they live. The disparity of worlds like this has been done to death in stories, and dates all the way back to Metropolis in the movies, and maybe even before that. Let's talk about the Iron City for a minute. What a bland and uninteresting area this movie sets itself in, with beaten stack houses sitting directly below the weirdly metal construction in the sky above them. This looks like a place any one of us could visit. Where's the science fiction in this? Because there's cyborgs walking around? And the streets are patrolled by Centurions, who look nearly identical to that robot from RoboCop? What is this? A scene deep into the movie had Alita and Hugo talking, and in the background it looked like a regular marketplace. And all I noticed were the paid extras pretending to shop around behind them. How invested I was! Yeah, I get maybe the author was trying to put it in our everyday world. Maybe it's like the whole Ghost in the Shell thingy where this could be a feasible future. You know, like we could see this happening to relate more with our everyday life. But I don't know, it just didn't work for me. You know, it's 500 years from now or whatever, and it's just, it looks like a freaking Earth marketplace. I don't know, man. It just, maybe that'll work for you, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. But okay. Here's something to note. A mysterious bounty hunter goes out at night and preys on cyborgs. But wait, Is it a mystery when 2 scenes later you discover it's Ito himself? And did you wonder why he instantly named her Alita? Just to be informed half an act later that was his dead daughter's name? How about Jennifer Connelly? Unbelievably distracting as Sheeran. Don't have to guess who she is. As soon as you meet her, you're told she was Ito's former wife. You see, there's all these reveals. All these storytelling beats that ignore the build-up. Continually, the movie tells us things that it thinks are big secrets, but forgets what makes a secret is not knowing. The exposition of this movie is pretty disappointing. It's not as offensive as Ready Player One's offensive spewing of details that was impossible to keep the fuck up with, but it's just such a shame to have things lamely told to you. I was shocked to see Bill Pope's name in the end credits as DP. The majority of this film is so blandly expressed. I've seen more creative lighting in student films. The ending of Mortal Engines was so dark and ugly that you couldn't tell what was happening. Battle Angel has the opposite issue. Everything is so brightly lit. I swear the exposure is set so high. It's not so bad or anything like that. It's just awkward and weird. That may not bother you, but I just sat there wondering what was wrong with my eyes. This movie just doesn't look right. But yes, Motorball. The popular and violent sport that everyone watches or plays. Alita is fascinated by it. She'll eventually enter in the big race to help Hugo get to Zalem. The film's very best sequence is during this race, as finally the movie looks amazing. And all the choreography and motion of the sport is riveting. All the other contestants tried to kill Alita, because Vector ordered them to. Did I mention Vector? He's played by Mahershala Ali. Why is Mahershala Ali in this movie? Another distraction. Vector is just a dumb villain behind the scenes, and follows his orders from another dumb villain behind the scenes. Try and guess which actor plays that one. The one called Nova. It's the dumbest reveal so far this year. Like, why cast Mahershala Ali? Why? I don't get it. He's such a great actor, reduced to this stupid, useless villain. Gruishka. And Jackie Earle Haley plays Gruishka. A terrible and stupid bad guy cyborg. Why do all the villains in this movie suck? But the fights are mostly good, especially the one in the Hunter-Warrior bar. That's the name of those bounty hunters. Hunter-Warriors. And that's what Alita, quite easily, registers herself after Ito as. It's pretty dumb. All this happens way too quick. Alita's call to arms against Gruishka in the bar is pure cringe. Gruishka? And hurt me as much as Jyn Erso's in Rogue One. Rebellions are built on hope. But the fight that breaks out after is pretty cool. Not that I cared about anyone other than Alita. A lot of this stuff just doesn't make sense. Why would Alita stand idly by for Gruishka to kill that dog? So she can wipe its blood on her face like war paint. And how she stands by as the British cyborg Zapan stabs Hugo. And how the Hunter-Warriors code isn't relevant until it is? I just don't get it. Oh, but Alita has flashbacks to her former life whenever she is in battle. Turns out she has always fought against evil. And her mission was to destroy Zalem. Would have been nice if she saved that dog. This movie, as I said, is filled with distractions. Non-Japanese actors playing characters with Japanese names. A marketplace junkyard world that looks like it's part of our own, instead of the distant future. Rules and codes that are not mentioned until they need to be. And Alita just finds the Berserker armor. And Nova speaks through the bodies of Vector and Gruishka at times. Which was pretty cool, especially Vector's last scene. The music here was awesome, as well as Ali's performance. But these moments are so few and far between. Battle Angel Alita is just too much of a weak production for me to enjoy. James Cameron bought the rights 20 years ago, and gave up directing it to pursue Avatar. And all the Avatar sequels we are about to be hit with. But as one of the co-writers of the screenplay, his writing is unimaginative and weak, and neglects so much to give us so little. The movie does look amazing at times, but its entire bland aesthetic in the first half turned me off so much. There's no way this movie costs $170 million. There's just no way. Rodriguez was not the right choice to helm this. And making this movie to be the first of many was a huge mistake. The product does not justify the budget. Split it up, guys. Spend $50 million on a risky feature like this. Then see where it goes. Now you're banking on China for diminishing returns. Just at the very end to say you've cut your losses. You can do better than this. Props to the visual effects team and Rosa. You guys brought your A game. And I noticed. Believe me, I did. Everyone else phoned it in. Jesus Christ. You know, I think I saw one Japanese guy in there in the Hunter Warrior bar. And I'm not saying make everybody in this movie Asian or Japanese. I'm just saying, like, the doctor's name is Idu. And Christoph Waltz is a great actor, but would you really cast a German guy to play Idu? And change the whole name, or I don't know, cast a Japanese scientist? I don't fucking know. I did Mahershala Ali, Jennifer Connelly, and they're relegated to these stupid, useless villains. Why are you casting these A-list stars that everybody knows when they're not doing anything? God, what the hell? Sharon, Grishka, like, it's just so many weird decisions, Like, I'm not gonna say it's, like, necessarily whitewashed, but it's just so weird. Try harder? I don't know. You could have cast no names of any ethnicity and race, or changed all the names to match American actors. Do something so it's consistent instead of awkwardness, man. And there was Japanese writing on the walls behind the marketplace and shit like that. It's just so weird. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. I did love his blowtorch hammer thing that's fueled by the rocket power. Like, yeah, that was pretty fucking awesome. I loved that shit. There's gonna be fans of this movie, and maybe you'll like it, and that's fine. It really is. I didn't. I didn't really care for this movie. I could have missed this. It's not, it kind of reminds me of the Ghost in the Shell movie last year, which was a bad remake, but this movie has a lot of the same themes as Ghost in the Shell. But anyway, they have similar ideas about the nature of self and identity and what makes a human, and the whole cyborg and human melding thing. And I just felt like there was a greater, bigger, more grander story here that we missed out on. And I think I'll make an effort to read the manga now, because I've heard nothing but great things about that manga. But this movie just didn't do it for me. It was just sort of like, it's a shame. Yukito Koshiro. Yeah, so Robert Rodriguez and John Landau said to the Vulture guys that article a year or so ago that this movie was not whitewashed because Yukito Koshiro's manga is not set in an Asian world, set in like fucking Kansas or some shit. This is what I've read. It could be wrong. Who knows? But still, the guy's name is Ito. Like, you only notice the ethnicity of the actors when it's not good. When the movie isn't amazing and you're not transported. That's when you start paying attention to these things. If it was a great movie, I wouldn't have cared that Christoph Waltz played Ito and Mahershala Ali and Jennifer Connelly in this movie, but it's not great. So I just sit there and I'm looking like, oh, they cast that person, and oh, why are they here when they have no role really? Give them something to do at least. All this money wasted. Like $170 million. You could have given it to a no-name filmmaker person who had talent, and it could have been like this. It could have been their venture to the big screen, and you could have spent $50 million. You could have saved $120 million on the budget alone, on the not marketing. I'm sure that cost a shit ton too. And you probably could have made a better movie. That's the sad part. You probably could have made a really interesting film that explored these ideas better, that didn't hack up the source material so much, and then you would basically be guaranteed a sequel. But I'm afraid you guys are just gonna break even. And everyone will have to pretend this movie really didn't get made. Aside from the visual effects, which were really nice. Hopefully this will help leap forward the next generation. Why the fuck am I wearing a NASA shirt? That's better. Sorry, I had to finish my Oscar 2019 reaction thing, whatever. This movie is 2 hours long, but feels so much longer. And there was just so much cutting away from the violence, especially when, like, Alita beats up that first cyborg. It's like, and then you know she bashed his head in, and you know the cyborgs bleed blue, so they just cut away from that. But then in this, like, wider shot, you see that he's kind of bleeding out on the ground. It was weird. So, like, she bashes his head in blue, but the movie still avoids that violence. It was weird. Another thing, Grishka reminded me of the Juggernaut in Deadpool 2. I hated the Juggernaut in Deadpool 2, and I honestly hated Deadpool 2 as well. You know, I like the first Deadpool. I fucking hate the second one, but that's neither here nor there. How the fuck am I gonna end this review? Stuckmann's tweet. Where are you, Mr. Stuckmann? Stuckmann. Why can't I stop looking up your fucking shit? Chris Stuckmann, who gave the movie a B, he tweeted out a week ago. I've seen Alita 3 times now, and it just gets better with each viewing. Oh, Chris. Gets better with each viewing, huh? But you didn't say shit about Infinity War until your top 10 at the end of the year, huh? Dude, it blows my mind, kid. I mean, you're only a year younger than me. Whatever. It blows my mind, Stuckmann. If you're watching this, which you aren't. I do like your channel. I do watch your stuff a lot. But you given these movies like Wonder Woman an A-, Battle Angel a B, and you see Wonder Woman at least 3 times in theaters and Battle Angel at least 3 times in theaters, it just doesn't make any sense. But then Infinity War comes out, and all you can do is just like, you criticize it with the B+, like, and then you love your La La Lands and your Green Books and your Lady Birds and your Oscar Beatty shit.